Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to Diversify. It's March 26th, right? 2024. Just make sure we have the right date. We're so glad.
26.
Yes. So we're so excited you could join us tonight. We want to start off by saying the purpose that we are doing this call for is because we want to share knowledge. We want to share it so you could be generous, that you can grow, that you could reach all the goals that you've like tried to. And this is a community where everybody could come together, share their businesses, their ideas. So we're all growing together. We like to say it's kind of like a mini mastermind that we're all part of. We don't charge anything for this. This is all free for anybody. So you're always welcome to invite anybody who would like to come to this. Because we talk about a variety of different topics, so it benefits a lot of different people.
Actually, just this week, about a week ago, I had someone ask me, well, why is it called Diversify? And the reason why we call it Diversify is because we really want to focus on all the different ways where we can create wealth, where we can, it's not just the W-2 or the business income. We want to be able to make everyone think, even ourselves, right? What else is out there that we could do that maybe we haven't been doing? And like Shad was saying, well, why are we wanting to be more wealthy? Well, it's really not because we want to be rich people. On our case, that's not our purpose. That's not why. The why. But if we want to be able to serve our community, if we want to be able to serve single mom or other people, we just can't do it with our own W-2 job. And we also don't want to be living in a, what is it that you guys say? Paycheck to paycheck?
Yeah, paycheck to paycheck.
Paycheck to paycheck. We don't want to have that lifestyle. We want to be able to create wealth. We want to be able to, use all the different skills that we all have. And Chad was saying, well, but then that also includes us sharing our own resources because, well, I call him MacGyver because he's just good at so much stuff. He can do tile work, he can be a mechanic sometimes. He could do it an accountant sometimes. He has so many different hands. And I know that there's so many of you that also have so many different skills that we can all share what is my strength with your strength, and then we can all get better together.
Yeah, so that's really a synopsis of like why we're doing this. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, many of you have been here many times before. And so each time we do these calls, we have a specific kind of topic that we start with and we want to go over. So tonight we're going to discuss the importance of like retirement planning, but we're going to put a different spin on it. So
Yes.
it's not going to be the traditional like get a 401k, say for retirement, 65 and a half, you could start pulling, your social security. No, we want to put a different way, because retirement for a lot of people means I'm going to work a job until I hit that magical age where they say I can retire.
62 or 65.
Yeah, 60 or 65.
Like 70 or 72.
Now it's like companies are pushing, even the government's pushing to try to make that retirement age higher for people to withdraw Social Security. But we don't want to, we want to start to look from the farthest part backwards, instead of like, all right, where we are today, where I want to be. We want you to start to think about, where do I want to be when I decide I'm done doing what I'm doing now? Not when I retire at age 65, or when my 401k is enough, or they say I could start drawing a pension from work. But what is the age that, in the time in your life, that you want to traditionally retire from, say, a W-2 job, or going to a specific place of business every day? What is that age for you? Because for everybody, it's different. For me, I was like, my mind was, and I didn't do it, but my mind was, when I'm 40 years old, I want to not be working for anybody. I want to have $1 million in the bank. And that's just I really, in my early 30s, late 20s, I thought for sure, and maybe some of you guys had the same thought that, well, that's forever away. So by then I'll definitely have enough money. I'll be secure. I'll have all these things.
Mhm.
So I really thought that. And I was striving and doing, doing everything I could. I was working my full-time job. I was doing side jobs. I was investing in real estate. I was doing a lot of different things because in my mind I was like, yeah, if I do all these things, I'm gonna be a millionaire. And when I'm 40, I'm gonna tell my boss adios, I'm out of here, and that's gonna be it. And it didn't happen. And largely because I didn't really have a plan. I knew I wanted to be done by age 40, but I didn't know why I wanted to be done. And hey, what would I do when I am done?
Mhm.
So, and that's what we're talking about is what is your age that in your time in your life that you want to be done doing what you're doing? And maybe right now what you're doing you love and you could do it till you die. That might, and that's fine. If you have something that you're doing right now that you're passionate about, you earn an income from it, whether it's W-2, 1099, freelance. If you're passionate, that there's no saying you have to stop doing that.
Mhm.
But the majority of people that we meet and talk with, even us included, there is a special time where we think if I hit this age and haven't accomplished my goal, I'm a total loser. That's like what we think in our head. So we don't want it to be that way. We want to really look at those things.
We've been in conversations again with different people, and something that we've heard over and over is, I'm tired of doing what I'm doing, or I want to do something else, or I know that there's something else out there, I just don't know how to get there. So, and it all comes back to money, right? And to wealth. Well, if I leave this job, I won't be able to make income. I don't know how I'm gonna make income. So it always goes back that purpose, even though we really want to disconnect it from money or from wealth, it's always connected. And it's okay to be connected, right? Because as long as we're being diligent, as long as we're working, we know that we will be okay. But are we really doing what we are passionate about doing? Are we joyful when we go into that office space, or when we sit down in a computer, or when we're doing the task that we're currently doing? And you were just mentioning most of the people that we're in conversations, they tell us, I hate my job. I hate doing this, or I don't like it. Maybe there's 1 out of 10 that would say, well, I like it. But it's kind of like, with something in their heart that they're not there yet. So I think, we were talking about the retirement, and it was like a light bulb in both of us. And Chad said, well, we're gonna give it a spin. And it's literally a spin. This is not an HR conversation. This is not a human capital conversation where they're wanting you to increase the amount that you're giving to your 401k plan, or to your, what is the other one? 401k plan?
Yeah, Roth IRA,
Roth
IRA.
IRA, right? All the different retirement plans. This is not really that. I think I've heard so many people talk about retirement, and what we hear is, well, when I retire, and it's almost like everyone is working, and the only hope is when I retire. Oh, when I retire, that's when I can travel. When I retire, that's when I'm gonna do what I'm passionate about doing, right? But what we are talking about, something different, is when you retire, maybe on this phase of your life. And I think that we all have different phases,
Yeah.
right? So it might be retiring right now from like a W-2 job, or maybe you are actually transitioning out of having your own business, or maybe you are growing your business to where now you have employees doing a lot of the work that you used to do. Those are different phases, and they're almost like retirements, because you're literally retiring from some task and moving yourself to others. You know, Shara and I don't believe on that traditional mentality of retiring and now I'm just going to travel the world or getting a cruise. So we are sorry if that is your goal in life. That's, you know, you won't hear us talking about that because we do believe in vacation, but it's not really like, hey, now for the next 20 years until I die, I'm going to be cruising the entire world. That's not our way of thinking about retiring, right? Or retirement. We're really thinking about, you know, just ending a season, or I called it before, like a phase of our life and transition into another phase, which is okay. But then at the same time, it's like, how can we plan for it? How should we be planning for those phases? Maybe, you know, now our children are getting older. Maybe now they're out of our home. So what do I do? Or maybe we're just, you know, starting our family. So it's like having all of those conversations, but then including the component of, hey, let's plan for it, but always thinking about what is, remember, this is something that we've been talking since the beginning, the VMOS. What is the vision of us as a couple, of us as a family? And then that's when we bring along the retirement. So this is not the traditional retirement. We're gonna work for 30 years, we're gonna work for 40 years, and then I'm gonna retire, and I'm going to, for those in United States, I'm gonna live off of Social Security and some extra money. So we are really, get ready for us to maybe, I don't know, it's almost like having a glass, and we're gonna be hitting that glass today, because that's not the kind of retirement we are focusing on or even thinking about.
Yeah, so we do want to say before we go any further, so and later on in the session a little bit, we're going to start doing this. We're going to try to do this monthly, is try to highlight one of you guys, or give you guys an opportunity to share what you're doing. And we have some, Michelle's going to be able to share with us tonight in a little bit here.
Yeah.
And it's for everybody here that's started businesses, got ideas of businesses they want to do. You don't even necessarily have to have started anything yet, but this is just so we could all get our juices flowing, and it gives us like, it excites us all to see other people doing it, like builds up excitement and energy and shows the things that are possible.
And then the following month, what month are we? March. In
Yeah.
April, we're going to have Ryan Coelho, and she's also part of our Diversify group, and she's going to be talking about like the logo and the importance of your logo and your website. So I think that's going to be super fun as well.
But now, before we get to that, we're going to talk about the dreaded retirement terms, like the things that you're used to.
Yes.
So everybody, we all know what a 401k is. We know what IRAs are, Roth IRAs, these annuities, all these different things that you're told that you need. But let's just think in like reality for the majority of us. And some of us are in different situations. I've been working at a company for
25 years.
25 years. And I could tell you emphatically, I've been putting into my 401k for the last 20, at least 22 years of the 25. I went through the 2008 and 2009 when we had the financial crisis thing, and I lost about half of my 401k in that when the market went down. So that being said, there is no way that I could retire literally in 10 more years from now. So I'm 49 right now. So if I just waited 10 more years getting ready to retire, there's no way I could do it on my 401k. It wouldn't last me but a few years. And that's the reality that's not told to a lot of people, because we get this, we've all heard of like compound interest. If you start early and you compound your earnings and invest and get an average of, 8 to 12% every year, it just, because one event, like what happened to me, I lost like half of it. So think about that. I'm like 10 years into investing, and I lost 10 years worth of investing.
Also for COVID. in 2020,
Yeah,
right?
look what happened in COVID for people that left their money in the market. And most people, they don't just go into 401k and think, I'm gonna freeze all my things. So you could do that. A lot of people don't know you can do that.
Mhm,
You could put it in a separate like money market savings account, something like
mhm.
that, if you know there's something happening in the market. But the majority, this is a traditional thing to say, just leave it in there. It'll grow over time. Yes, it goes up and down, but over time it'll grow. But I haven't met very many people in my entire life that retire and live off their 401k or their IRAs.
Mm-mm.
It's very hard to do, especially if you don't start really early and you're contributing a lot of money.
Especially if you're working for a nonprofit organization like I was, right? Where we're making 1/3 of what we could be making on for profit. And they just give you a very small percentage or dollar amount towards your retirement.
Yeah.
So that's even more difficult to be able to live out of your retirement.
So I have a friend that I work with, and at our company, we could contribute up to 8% in our 401k, and the company will match 50% of that. So, and this is like for most of you guys, if you do have a 401k and your company matches,
Mhm.
I only believe, this is my personal opinion, is go up to the match, and everything after that, invest in something else outside of the 401k, because it's free money they're giving you. But more times than not, you could earn a better return, even if you're taking the money out of your paycheck and going to pay taxes on it,
Mhm.
than you would be able to in the 401k. So, like for instance, I have a friend that believes that he should put, the whole max amount that he's allowed to by the IRS of 15% is 401k every year.
Mhm.
So he does that, even though the company we work for only matches 8% of it. So he's taken the other percentage of that money and put it in the hands of somebody else and trusting them that they could do a better job managing his hard-earned money than he can. So this is what I want you guys to think about. You guys have the ability, the knowledge, you guys have people around you where there's ideas that you could take the money, extra money you have,
Mhm.
apart from what's being given to you that match, and invest it and make more money on your own.
Okay, Chad. So let's see. Let's go back a little bit because I know that was a lot of information in like 2 minutes and a half. So what you're saying is, um, let's use the maximum that your W-2 job, your employer allows you
Mhm.
to put towards the retirement because that's what we call free money.
Yeah.
So in your case, it was 8%. So you put 8% of your salary and they will match that 8%. Now, on my case, it was 2%. Welcome to the nonprofit world. I see some, oh, why? Okay, I
That was
thought that, was
awesome.
that the two? Maybe that was not the two. But, there was only 2%. So what I did was that I also contributed the 2%. Now, again, it doesn't mean that I was thinking I was gonna retire out of those funds. That just means that we are actually, you know, it sounds kind of bad maybe, but right? Using this opportunity that they're giving us where your employer is contributing and matching your amount to get the free money, so even though we know we might not be able to retire, maybe we might only work at this company for a couple of years, not more than 5, whatever amount. It's always good to be able to contribute and use those opportunities that your job is giving you. And again, that's mainly for United States, right? The terminology that we're using. There's other countries that don't provide, that employers are not, providing retirement for their employees. So this is mainly for citizens here of United States of America, where you have all of these Roth IRA and different opportunities. So we do say use and max out
Mhm.
the retirement that your employer, the contribution that they're giving you. However, if you know that you want to contribute more, that you want to be able to save more money or invest more money or allocate money towards retirement, towards the next phase, right? Then there's other ways of doing it rather than giving it to someone else to manage it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's think about that. So let's say we just go to the company, if your company matches, we just go to the max of the company matches.
Mm.
And now we have this extra money. What do we do with it?
Okay.
So you have the option to put that in a IRA, a Roth IRA
Mhm.
that your company doesn't manage. You could choose the custodian, Edward Jones, like Charles Schwab, there's billions of them out there. And it gives you more flexibility over the things that you invest in. You could choose if you want to invest in Tesla or, you know, micro strategies, or if you want to buy the Bitcoin ETF and things like that. You have the ability to choose that. So that's like diversifying it out. And that would actually probably give you more than likely a better return anyway,
Mhm.
because you're building up see, the companies, they don't care about our retirement. I know they say they do. They really want us to show up. They want a warm body going to show up at their office and factory. That's what they want. After they're done with you, they're done with you. They're not calling you a year later. Hey, how's it working out in retirement? You got enough money to feed your family? No, they don't ever do that. After
Mm-mm.
they give you your cake, it's like you're not even heard of it at the office anymore. It's so weird. People could work there 30 years, like greatest person, and you never heard their name ever again. So the reality is we have to be our own advocates when it comes to retirement.
Yes.
So we have those options. Now, the other thing to start thinking about is, what about building up another stream of income, and think about that as a retirement plan. Okay. So instead of just thinking I have to work my one job until I retire, or I need to leave this job and start my own business, and so I could, what if you continue working your own job right now,
Mhm.
if you have one, and then you start building up your own business on the side, you start doing a side hustle, you get involved in like saving money, say you have some money that you could use to buy real estate,
Mhm.
and you start, because what now, we want to start building up our retirement. This is what we're going to do, and this is going to give us the freedom to
Mhm.
do the things that we want to do,
Mhm.
like to travel, to go do trips, to start businesses and not have to worry about if I'm going to have enough money to make it work. Because sometimes when you start a new business, you don't make money for the first year or two. It's just you're putting money out and you feel like this is never going to work, and then one day it just starts to take off. So it
Yes.
takes time.
Yes.
So I want you to think about retirement as, if I'm starting a new business, I'm doing a side hustle, I'm investing in like real estate or something like that. That's part of my retirement planning,
I like it.
because it'll seem more permanent to you,
Mhm.
opposed to like, well, I'm going to try this. I'm going to drive for Uber. Say, all right, let's just say I'm going to drive for Grubhub or Uber or,
Mhm.
Instacart.
Yeah.
It's part of my retirement plan. That sounds crazy, right? If you tell someone, hey, I'm going to drive for Uber, that's part of my retirement, they're going to look at you like you're nuts. But what you're doing is, I'm going to drive for them. I'm going to make an extra $500 a week. I'm going to start putting that away. And in a year from now, I'm going to have enough saved up to go buy my first investment property,
Mhm.
because I'll have the down payment.
Mhm.
And that's from driving from Uber. So it's the retirement. It's part of the retirement plan.
Mhm.
Okay. It's not just saving in a 401k, IRA. No, doing all these little minuscule things sometimes that we think, well, this doesn't make any impact, and
Mhm.
I'm just doing this for right now.
Yeah.
But try to think about, and we do this, we try to think about strategically, like everything we're doing, like every job we take,
Mhm.
every business that we start, we're always thinking into the future.
Yes.
Like, how is this going to impact the generations after us?
Mhm.
How is this going to impact the people and the places and the churches and things we want to donate, the lives we want to change? So we're intentional about, there's a lot of things that we do. Sometimes we don't like doing them. There's lots of jobs that I just don't like doing, but I do it. And every time I think this is for the future, this is part of my retirement.
And it's temporary.
And it's temporary, exactly.
Mhm.
That, I mean, that's a good one, that it is temporary. So that's just to get your mind thinking a little bit about the strategy. Another thing also, when we're thinking about retirement, is tax planning strategies. Okay.
Yes.
So the biggest thief of our wealth and the money we make is taxes. Bar none. There's nothing that takes more money away from you. Your water heater breaking, your car breaking doesn't hold a candle to taxes. Every week, I don't care if you're working W-2, not working for W, even if you don't have a job, you're paying taxes. And you say, well, I don't have a job, I'm paying tax. You're paying taxes because you go to the grocery store,
Sure.
you're buying something, you're paying sales tax.
Clothes,
Everything.
cars.
So everything. So if you want to know how to build wealth faster than anything else, learn the tax advantages of different asset classes, the different ways you could structure your savings, your givings, like putting money in a traditional IRA. If you have the extra funds, could actually reduce the amount of taxes you have to pay in that year. We love real estate, and we talk a lot about it because it's one of the greatest tax sheltering advantages of all investments. If you do real estate, you've heard this a lot with people like billionaires. You're like, they never pay taxes. You heard it with the campaigns, Donald Trump. Everybody's always talking about, hey, he's didn't pay his share of taxes. But that's because the tax code is written as a series of incentives, really. I know we think of the tax code like it's a thumb pressing us down, we can't do this, but it's really the government saying, we don't want you to do this with your money. We want people to do this with their money. And if you could learn those tax advantages, you could actually save so much. I mean, there has been years that Deanna and I have not paid any taxes at all, like zero, which sounds incredible, right? Like, it sounds almost impossible, but we've done it. We've done it actually for a couple of years. So it's
without stealing.
Without stealing, without not, listen, and we reported every bit of income we made on our tax return, everything. But it's because
So it's not, so by that you mean it's not like we're getting cash.
Yeah, it's not like
reporting
exactly,
the cash.
because there's a lot of that, right? That people, well, just pay me cash on the side,
They
and then
put it under the mattress.
and then you don't report it, and you think you're hiding it from the government and everything. But if you learn the tax advantages, and there's so many out there, there are ways, and we could share, and we'll share more of them like later. That'll be a different talk about, but we could share ways what we've been able to do, and it works. And I'm going to tell you what, when you're at the end of the year, because all of you guys do this, everybody waits till the time for your refund, you file your taxes, and you're looking at that little green box and up there, and you're seeing, do I get a refund? Am I in the red? You know how we do this? We're like, what am I getting back? Am I going to have money to go out this week? I want to go on vacation this year. Is that money there? I'm telling you, when you get to the point where you're able to use these tax advantages, and so instead of paying $30,000 or whatever it is, you're actually going to get back, not pay the 30, and you're going to get back maybe $10,000.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
And that happens with the retirement. The funds that you're putting towards retirement, you're not going to pay taxes out of that, at least right now, right? So you will pay taxes when you retire the money, right? When you remove the money from those funds, that's when you actually pay taxes, but not while you are putting the money towards a retirement account. I also wanted to just bring up, like, just be careful about making loans out of that money that you put in retirement. But on the other hand, there's also opportunities, right? Because depending on the type of retirement, you might be able to take money out of your retirement if it's for a house, for your personal house, right? So there's like different opportunities where you could use that money, but
Mhm.
don't try not to do a loan against it.
Yeah.
Because there's so you remember when they say that this always read that this tiny words like the font that is very small, you can almost read. Those are the words that we usually don't look at and that they are not on your favor.
So just real quick, just to give you like a quick little scenario of like how tax advantage, how you could take everything we put together and what would that look like in a real life scenario.
Mhm.
So Deanna said, don't take a loan against your 401k. And at the same time, she said, but there's opportunities
Mhm.
if you're buying a primary house. Okay. So let's look at this situation. I'm going to show you how this could work in your favor both ways. So you have your money, and say you have, let's just say you have $30,000 in your
Let's lower
yeah,
that for the
yeah,
nonprofit people.
nonprofit, or say you got, $20,000 in your 401k, okay? That you've worked there for a few years, and you've saved up that much, and you've never bought a house before, okay? You've never bought a house, and you're thinking, okay, hey, I want to buy an investment house, but I don't have down payment for that. I can't do that because this is a big hurdle for a lot of people.
Yes.
They don't have the money to get down payments, and it takes a long time. And I know there's schools of thought out there like you should never buy a house till you have all the money, pay cash. But in reality, houses are two, three, four, $500,000. So it's going to take pretty much your whole lifetime to save up
Uh, and,
cash.
and also here in United States, right? It's different than in other countries, right? Here, the promotion is for us to be consumer people, like to consume, to be in debt, like your credit score. If you pay your debt, you're really good. But if you have a lot of debt, that's even better. So it's a consumeristic community, right? That's what the government focuses on, and the economic lifestyle here, that's what they focus on as well. So
So let's take this. You have $20,000 in your 401k. Now, if you took that $20,000 out, just took it out because you had to pay some bills and things like that, you needed the money. You're going to pay a 15%, penalty to take that out. Plus, you're going to pay the taxes on it, whatever your tax bracket is.
mhm.
So basically, your $20,000 is going to end up being like 13,000, probably when you're done, if that, maybe, depending on what tax bracket and
Fees,
everything.
hidden fees.
Now, another way, this is a tax advantage thing you could do. This is where I want you to think like outside of the box. Now, if you have an opportunity and you're willing to do this, you could buy an investment property, but just not any investment property, not a second house. You could say you're renting a place right now. You want to get out of there, you want to invest, but you don't have the down payment like a lot of people. You can buy, let's just take a duplex for instance. You could buy a duplex. You could take most for your primary residence. If this is like your first house, you could take money out of your 401k without the penalty to do that. You're allowed to do that. You have to pay the taxes on it if you take it out, which whatever tax, and I'll talk about that in a little bit here. You have to pay the taxes, but you could take that money out. You could use it as a down payment to purchase, say, a duplex. Let's say you take that out, you buy a duplex. Let's say it's a $200,000 duplex. For your primary house, you could do a 5% down on that duplex. So what is that? $10,000. $10,000. All right, you have to put down. So now that you have the duplex, you were able to use the money that was in your 401k that's not giving you any income. And probably when you retire, it's going to give you maybe 3 or 4% a year. In reality, that's probably where you're going to be at. But now you bought a duplex with the money that was in your 401k locked up for the next 20 years that you can't touch. You have this duplex that can now start producing you income every month. On top of that, that's just the beginning of it. So let's just say it's giving you $300 a month now income, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say it's giving you $300 a month income. Now you've got that every month. And now you also have this thing called depreciation, which is where we get into like the tax advantages. It actually allows you to depreciate, in which that's a whole nother thing. But
Yes.
what it does basically, it lowers your tax, it will lower your tax liability. So now you're not only producing like an income that's going to be for your retirement, you're able to lower your taxes because of the whole depreciation and the things that come on benefits with owning real estate. And you're actually building up a retirement asset, because in 30 years from now or 20 years, that thing could be paid for.
Voila. So with that, there's this couple, they bought a house about, let's say 20 years ago, right? Now they're ready to, they're like, yeah, right now we just don't want to do any heavy lifting. We want to be able to help at the church. We want to be able to do some community work, but that's about it. So they're ready to kind of like retire, like not to do too much, right? That's what they're saying. Well, they bought this house 20 years ago, and this couple was putting money towards the principal of the house. So it was a 30-year loan, but they used this, they were looking at this property as retirement, right? Because we're talking about retirement. So they looked at this one property, this is gonna be our retirement. Now, 20 years later, they pay off the house because every month they were paying the mortgage plus a little bit more. So instead of paying the house at 30 years, they paid it, in our example, in 20 years. So now they're ready to move into their next phase of their life. And they're like, well, I think we're ready to not continue renting. Now, remember, this house, they only pay the initial investment. Let's use the example of the 5%,
$10,000.
$10,000. That was all, because everything else it was the tenants paying for the house. So now 20 years later, they bought the house for 60,000. And now the house has a value of 250,000. Out of the 60,000 at that moment, they put only 5%, which is what? Oh, today I'm a math person, but today my brain is not working. 6 times 5, like 3,500.
3,500.
So they put only 3,500, and now they have $220,000.
Plus the
Plus,
income they
yeah.
earned all the time for the 20 years.
Because the money that they were making was more than just the mortgage, right? Plus, he loves talking about taxes, right? So he had to put a little bit of that in. Then there was the tax advantage for those 20 years.
Yep.
And now they have the $220,000 property sitting there for the next, let's say that they're thinking they're going to live 15 years more, right? For 15 years of their life.
So that's where we wanted to get you thinking about. It's mind blowing, right? When you start thinking about it, it's so simple. And we have to think like in a small granular thing, like what can I do right now to build towards later? Yeah, you might get a rental house, only be making $200 a month on it. It's like, this isn't worth the headache. But for retirement, is it worth the headache going to work in 25, 30 years and getting a 401k that you have $150,000 in? And you can only withdraw so much a year because you got to pay a bunch of taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
instead of the 3,500, or nowadays will be 10,000.
Yeah. And with inflation, at least with the house, it goes up in value along with inflation. 401k stays the same, whatever it is. So,
well, it actually, instead of
actually it deflates because the value of the dollar goes down, which is one other.
Yeah, the dollar of the value 20 years ago, it's not the same as now.
Yeah.
Right? Except TVs are cheaper now than 20 years ago.
That's about the only thing's cheaper is TVs.
And cell phones. When cell phones came out, I remember getting a bill of like $340 because it was, well, I'm telling my age, but it's okay, right? So it was that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but that's, that's just a quick little thing we wanted to talk about retirement. Just get your juices going and we'll dive more into it. But I want to give some time here for Michelle to like talk about what she does a little bit. She's a super talented designer, but she's like done a lot of, she could do a lot of things. She's a salesperson, designer. She's an entrepreneur by heart.
Yes.
It's just, it's like all of us, like we're trying to find our groove and what's the thing we like to be most. So I want her to be able to share.
Yeah.
And I've met Michelle, I met her through work many years ago. So we became friends and she got invited to this group. And she's a great person and she's, wants to, want her to share what she's doing. So you guys just get the idea. It's not like just real estate people here, or it's just this, it's all of us.
Yeah. And there's so many opportunities to be able to learn from what Michelle is going to be sharing with us today. Michelle, welcome to
Hi.
Diversify. We're so excited.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. A little bit about me. Yeah, Chad and I met through work a few years ago, and I have always kind of been an entrepreneurial, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, at heart. I'm always trying to find like different streams of income so that I can kind of make money while I'm sleeping. I don't want to be working a full-time job, obviously, forever. And lately I've kind of had this bug to almost actually, Chad doesn't even know this, but maybe even switch careers. So, I've been exploring things like, even like doing like insurance sales just to kind of make like that extra money now so I can set that aside. I bought a condo, 2 years ago actually, and I've thought about renting that out so that I could make money off of that per month. And then I'm like, oh, where could I find like multi-housing unit? Like, so the juices are always flowing. But I do work full time for a flooring store, retail, and then I also do interior design consulting on the side. So when I'm not doing that, I haven't been as active lately, but like I did 2 bigger projects last year that made a pretty good cash flow, which then I used to remodel my kitchen. So it's like investing into my property, right? So and just exploring like different avenues, like how you can like outsource things as a designer, when then you can spend more time like kind of focusing on what you're good at. So like even outsourcing like renderings and things like that that I don't have time to do since I have a full-time job. So just like little things like that, how can I be efficient and yet do the best work that I can do while making the most profits. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I mean, ever since you told me the other day about the rendering thing, outsourcing to, what was it, Fervor, or is that where you found
Yeah, so Fiverr, you can find like to do a rendering here in the United States, usually just like architecture firms do that. So a big thing for me is like I'm a very eclectic kind of person, so trying to kind of get my vision across to people, like the renderings could be a game changer, because I'm only spending $30 to $80 on maybe 1 to 2 images. Whereas like here, if you hire someone to do it, it's much more expensive. So things like that could really like kind of up my game and kind of sell that room even better is gonna make me a better designer, right? So you can then charge more and create more value for your client, really create that trust. And the other thing too is like you're building relationships with those people, and you just never know like who's gonna know someone that knows someone that knows someone. Like this guy that I do a lot of work for, he knows this guy that was like gonna buy Bennies, like literally was gonna buy Bennies and didn't end up buying it. It's like, okay, I'm like this small little designer and I've done like 2 or 3 projects for him, but he's like, oh yeah, like I know this guy, he's gonna be ready like, in the fall and blah, 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 blah. I'll give him your number. Like, that one thing could just jumpstart my whole entire business where I could quit my full-time job, because then he's going to refer someone that might refer someone that might refer someone, you know, and it just kind of like branches off. So
Right.
it's just kind of interesting making those connections and those relationships. So.
And this is something that you're passionate about. I can hear in your voice. I can hear that this is something exciting for you.
Yeah. I've worked for a flooring store. So it's like, I went to school for design, and not having that little like creative piece is sometimes like I need that, like, you know, that, you know, itch or whatever that I have. So yeah, just kind of filling that and kind of doing it for fun for a while. And then like I said, I'm not super active with it right now, but lately I've been like, oh, I should really push that more. Like I should try to find more projects and get those renderings and see where that goes and what else I could do. And even if it's not quitting my full time, like you said, you could be using that money to do like buy a real estate property and do that, or, you know, so lots of opportunities to grow.
So for the people that don't know what Fiverr is it only to get like rendering services, or can people find other things on there they could source out?
No, that I'll be honest, I haven't done a lot of research on it, but I think you can do like a lot of stuff on there. I know, like, and my good friend Sarah's on this call, so she won't be happy to hear this, but she's a graphic designer, but I'm pretty sure you can even get like graphic design services.
Okay.
There's a lot. I haven't done a lot of digging. I was just on there, like I searched interior design rendering and I found so many like things, and they're all rated too. So you can like look at bestseller rated on Fiverr and like how many projects they've done, and they show their work. And like my bread and butter is kind of like construction. So like kitchens and bathrooms, you can hire a guy to do like a bathroom rendering with like the tub and the tile and the faucets, and just like things that I don't have time to do. I don't have the software to teach myself. For a very small amount of money, and then you're selling your project and you're more likely going to close that sale.
Wow. I think you said something that for me was like a highlight. You said, I don't have time for that, you know, like your passion, it might be like the vision, right? As a designer, this is what I want to see, but you don't want to be necessarily behind a computer designing every little thing, right? And I think that's where most of us are. Like you could have a vision for something, but it doesn't mean, and I'm going to take it, I know you're going to look at me, at sewing. Like I could have a vision for a dress, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to be in the sewing machine sewing my dress, you know? So I think that happens to all of us. I'm always talking about sewing, right? Yes, but I feel like that happens to all of us, and you could have an idea, but it doesn't mean that you're going to do it all. But on the other hand, there might be someone else that will be passionate about doing the sewing or about doing the graphic design, right? So I think that's when we all come together, like you were saying, you have an eye for graphic design. And when Chad was sharing with me, I was already thinking, wow, you know, on our group, even as we continue to grow, I could see people saying, well, I'm not good at interior designing, so let's have Michelle do that for us while I am buying, you know, like a property, right? And I want to update the property. So they might have a vision for the place, but they're really not, you know, interior designers or experts in bathrooms and kitchen. And that's when we really become stronger together.
Yeah, because the reality is, even for us, is I have a tendency that I want to do everything myself.
MacGyver.
And it's because I'm cheap too. It's not always just that. Some of them I'm just cheap and I just don't want to, I feel like I'm giving away something that I could do.
But I could do that.
But what I'm learning, and this is probably for a lot of us, is that sometimes being cheap on our thinking, and sometimes there's a time for it when we have to be. Well, we just don't have the budget. But there gets to be a point where some things we try to be cheap at and do it ourselves, but we're really hurting the end result. Because for designing, if I was like, hey, I could design an Airbnb, we have Airbnbs, I could design that. Would the end result be something like what Michelle would do? No way. Would my bookings and everything be as good as they would if Michelle would design it? No way. So what did I do? I saved a couple $1,000s, and this is high level. I saved $2,000 to probably lose 20 or 30,000 over the next 2 or 3 years in bookings, because I was, it wasn't my forte. And that's for all of us. Even if we do have businesses where like a Fervor has like the option for them to do the exact same thing you do. Well, hey, what you do is you hire that person to work for you, and then you sell their services to somebody else, and then you could take on more jobs. So that's where we have to start thinking. To start thinking of your personal finances, your personal life as a business.
Yeah.
Like manage it like it's a business, because you have to take care of your family for the rest of your life. Your employer doesn't have to take care of you. The 401ks don't have to take, you do. So if you treat it like a business and start to think like, hey, what would be the most profitable way for us to buy groceries this month or whatever? I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it will change the way you think about everything. And it's not because you're greedy and want to be business savvy, rich person. No, you'll make decisions differently, because you'll be like, me spending time, doing this thing over here, trying to figure out to become a graphic designer or to become a decorator, the time I'll spend on YouTube and looking up all these color palettes, I could be making money doing something I'm really good at. So it's like, sometimes you have to give up to go up. You just have to give up some things to go up to the next level. And that's, like what Michelle was talking about. That's it.
And we're all experts on different areas, right? But I love what Michelle was saying. You were sharing, Michelle, that you went to school and to become an interior designer. So I can imagine that sometimes we've all done that. Maybe we went for one thing and we're not doing what we study, but you're still passionate about it. You're still a creative person. So it's like, well, I'm putting carpet, right? That's not so creative. I only have like 5% of creativity on the carpet industry. But then you started searching for something and it gives you joy, it gives you like that purpose, like you feel more excited, well, because you have this extra job. And ultimately that might be an opportunity. And I believe that happens to all of us, at different scales. And it doesn't mean, maybe you are happy as a nurse and that brings you joy. That's perfect. So it's always being and looking inward, what makes us joyful, what really is impactful. And do I have to do everything? No. Can I start outsourcing some of it? Of course, because then I can focus on doing other things that I can give to other people, right? Because we are all unique. And with that, I want to let you all know that we've been working, right? Yes. What?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to let you know that we've all been working for a couple of months on our website, but also we are going to be transitioning, hopefully for the month of April, our Zoom call to our very own platform. It's what we call Diversify Conversation as a Circle. So the circle has 3 different opportunities where we're going to be able to have these monthly calls, live videos. You're going to be able to go to that library of all the previous videos and look at them again. On that same platform, we're going to have a circle for all of us to be able to talk with each other. So basically it has like a feel like a Facebook group. So we want to reach out to Michelle. We want to reach out to one of our graphic designers. We could do that amongst the group. If you have a question, you can type the question and then one of us will get back to you throughout the week for your question. And then the third circle inside the circle is actually the tools. So we're going to be able to put there all of our tools, including the new budget tool that we're going to be sharing with all of you, and all of the other resources like videos of other people, right? Because we always love to share what other people are sharing, right? So it's gonna be super fun. We're super excited. We're about halfway through, or maybe 3/4 through, so it should be ready. You're gonna get an email from us to subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. Subscribe for free to the Diversify, and then you will be inside the Diversify circle.
So I have to confess, this is one of those things that I've been telling you guys we've been wanting to do for the last year. And because I thought I'll do it myself and not pay somebody, we actually finally paid somebody to do this, and it's getting done now, over a year and a half later.
Well, it's less than that.
Well, or like, well, maybe a year, but it's like, that's the reason why it hasn't happened yet, because I've got so busy, and it's like, I'll do it. And then finally, like, we got to pay somebody to do this. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Sometimes you just have to let it go.
I was like, babe, I think it's time. Well, I want to do, and it's fun. Listen, we both would love to do it, because for us, we're techie people. We love website. We love being, but then can we juggle all the things? No. So let's reach out to someone that can do it, and so that then we can focus on the content. So we're going to be putting all of these calls inside that subscription. It's completely for free. We're going to start sharing it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. So because I mean, we're so excited.
And we're excited that the person that's helping us do this is part of this group. We found him in this group. So and we've done that with multiple people in the group that we've used their services for. So it works, and they do great work. They're professional. So I'm hoping it gives everybody an opportunity to share with each other.
Yes.
So we find the right people for the things we're looking for.
Yes, if we want a designer, we know where to go, right? Within our same group, we'll build each other up.
Yeah, so does anybody have any questions or anything? We want to open it up. I know we talked a lot.
We would love to have any questions. And what was, again, maybe we can type down, or maybe Michelle, you could type it on the chat, the website that you were using.
Oh, Fervor. Fiverr. Is it Fiverr or Fervor?
That's exactly why I wanted her to type it, because
I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's here, I'll put it in here.
Yes, thank you.
It's an app. I'm pretty sure it's an app.
Yes, thank you. Very good. Thank you, Sharita. Thank you for posting that. You see, because I was like Fiverr or Fever, so I can see it. Fiverr.
Awesome.
We're all learning. So good, Sharita. Anyone else would like to ask a question? If not, you guys know that we're going to see each other again on last Tuesday of April. Last Tuesday of every month. And hopefully next time we will be on our new platform. That will be super exciting. I know.
Yeah, so we're so excited. Thank you for joining us. You could always reach out to us through email questions. Please. If you want to ever share like about your business or the ideas you have, let us know. If not, we're going to ask you to do it anyway. Like I asked Michelle, I'm like, hey, Michelle, you want to do this? Okay. She's like, yeah, great, I'll do it. Because that's why we're doing this. It's not just about us. We're trying to open this platform up for everybody. So you guys have an opportunity to share. That's the way we grow and network, and it doesn't cost us money to do it.
No. So thank you so much. Have a good evening. And it will be until our next Tuesday on April. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle.
Yes, thank you.